We're back to Hallam for the third season of our Youth Academy Challenge. We've made it up to Super League 3. Well, I've got a feeling that it's only going to get harder from here. If you've forgotten, the rules here are pretty simple. We can't buy any players, we can only use players that came through our Youth Academy. We also can't buy players that came up through our club. Once they've been sold, they're gone. Now, we did manage to make it through the summer between Season 2 and Season 3 without losing anybody, but I don't think that we're going to have such good luck in the future. The first problem we ran into this season was our stadium. The board had to convert it into an all-seater, which meant that our stadium capacity would drop. This is almost impossible to believe, of course. Our stadium capacity was a whopping 933 at the start of the season. By late December, the construction was complete, and our capacity was now a whopping 620. Of course, that presented a problem since we sold almost 900 season tickets before the season began. Alright, now I don't really think that that's horribly unrealistic, actually. I mean, I kind of understand to at least some extent what the game is trying to do. But seriously, the fact that we oversold our season tickets really should have been at least a storyline during the season, right? Anyway, we've got a sugar daddy owner and we've got a really fat bank account, so I mean, we should be able to solve this problem, right? And so I decided to ask the board for a new stadium. The board refused my request, of course. No matter what I said, I couldn't convince the board that building a new stadium would be a good idea. It was really frustrating. Well, I'm not going to push this issue too much, at least not at this point. We'll eventually get a new stadium, and it's probably going to be better for us if we wait until we're higher in the league to get one. As usual, nobody gave us a chance. The odds on us winning the league were 2,000 to 1. We did well in our preseason matches, however, and that's a good sign. But you see, that's where the stadium limitation really becomes a huge problem. I mean, we could schedule friendlies against really difficult competition, but we can't really warrant it because we can't get enough fans to come in to make it worthwhile. We would end up paying more in fees and we would get in-gate receipts. So that means that we're kind of stuck for now. We started off strong in our first match at home against Leyton Orient. Jake Clarkson, our famous leading scorer, scored the first goal. Our defense fell apart soon afterwards, though, and this match ended up a 1-1 draw. The start of the season looked pretty pessimistic. Wade Bowling, our 18-year-old center back, broke his leg in early August.
Squeezed that one through. Oh, strongly challenged there.
Our model citizen keeper Sam Killock went down a few weeks later with a broken hand.
Just wouldn't be beaten there.
That left us in a bit of a bind. We had just launched ourselves into first place the day that Killock was injured, but I was worried for the future. We lost our next match, and that was our first loss of the season. Yeah, that's right, our first loss of the season didn't come until late August. I mentioned before that the tactic that we're using is really overpowered. Well, this season proved that. I mean, you would think that we'd lose all of our momentum without our star defender and our starting goalkeeper, right? Wrong. Daniel Walker, our young replacement keeper, looked absolutely awesome. And then we started winning like crazy. We had a cup run to remember. And remember, all of this was happening with our star players out. And it wasn't just the cup either. We were back to the top of the league in mid-December. But winning isn't everything. We've got a different problem at Hallam. It's called reputation. This showed up at the end of the first transfer window when we wound up selling 18-year-old striker Steve Randall to Atletico Madrid. Steve was injured not long after this, but it was our problem. That's because we agreed to keep him at the club on loan until the end of the season. I did that because I thought it would help us out. In the end, though, I really think it's probably better to just let those players move on right away. The problem that we have on our side is that they end up blocking the younger players. In other words, our young players that were just created can't get into the first team because they've got these players that are leaving anyway in the way. The biggest revelation this season was winger Brian Lopez, a new gen who came on in the 2023-24 season. Lopez looked like a star as soon as he was created, and he sure has lived up to his hype. We've been really lucky to avoid having to sell him so far, but I don't know how long our luck will last. Some really big name clubs have been in for him, and like I said, we don't really have the reputation to stop him from leaving. Defender Carlton McKenzie was the second to leave when Arsenal hit his minimum fee release clause. Mackenzie was a center back who showed a lot of promise as soon as he was created. Note, however, his lack of speed. His transfer went through very quickly, considering the fact that we weren't at the end of the transfer window yet. Finally, on the last day of the transfer window, Sevilla bought Wade Bowling from us. Okay, I'm really not that bummed about selling Wade Bowling. I don't think that he's as good as his performance indicates, and I'm also really not that sad about losing only 3 players this season. It really could have been a lot worse. We set a record by bringing in £2 million in transfers this season. I've got a feeling that we'll be beating that record before long. Meanwhile, we kept winning the FA Cup. We drew an away match against Manchester City. Nobody expected us to win, of course. And we went down early.
Goes without saying, that was poor. It's come through. It's in!
Before we knew it, it was 2-0.
For options. Plays it backwards. Nicely worked. Oh, brilliant goal!
We did manage to score a wonder goal to make it 2-1.
Whittles it through. It's a beauty!
But for us, it was too little, too late. Seriously though, I really can't complain. That was an amazing and absolutely unexpected cup run. I know what they say about this tactic, but seriously, I wasn't expecting us to get to that level so early. We found ourselves top of the league again in early April. And then we clinched promotion once again. That's right, we've been promoted 3 seasons in a row now. We're moving up the ladder faster than we can keep up. It's a lot better than I was expecting for sure. Meanwhile, we found ourselves in the Super League 3 Cup final against the Arsenal club in Argentina.
That's brilliant! Move. Comfortable in his role. Poked it across. Had everyone off their seats. Decent ball. Crosses in a low one. A finish right from the top draw.
We gave up a ridiculous equalizer.
And he's forced to go crossfield.
However, we were able to work out a game winner in the end. That marked the first trophy of the season. In fact, it was actually the first trophy of the entire save. Everybody was amazed, of course, since nobody thought we stood a chance in the competition. That leaves only one competition for us left to win. That's the league. We went into the last 4 games of the season needing only a single victory to clinch. We've got this in the bag, right? Unfortunately, we went down 2-1 to Morecambe. But then we scored an equalizer seconds later. We were up 2-1 against Dundee when we conceded this awful goal. Sam Killock publicly tried to rally our troops. We had 2 games left, and a single win would clinch it. Unfortunately, a controversial penalty decision put us down early at Stockport. The man who scored the penalty was sent off with a straight red just 5 minutes later. But we then gave up a second penalty to start off the second half, and it was another controversial decision. We got one back late, but that was it. Killock was back on the media circuit before our last match. We hosted Mansfield Town, and all we needed was a draw to ensure first place, but we conceded another goal. And that was it. We blew it on the last day, finishing in a close second place. I was pretty frustrated with this. We had the best goal differential, and yet Wigan somehow managed to sneak in past us. We scored over 100 goals again this season, easily leading the league. We also conceded fewer goals than any other team. This end-of-season collapse was simply inexplicable. Now, I know that he was trying to show some leadership, but I really think that Sam Killock might be part of the problem. His ability hasn't improved at all, he's kind of older, and we're getting to the point where he's probably not going to be good enough anymore. It might really be time to clean up this squad. This is where I made a mistake. I was worried about his release clause being triggered, so I signed Killock to a new contract in December. We're calling him a star player, even though he really doesn't deserve that title. Killock did manage to win the Golden Glove, which is good. Still, when I look at his profile, I've got doubts as to whether he can continue to perform at a high level. I guess we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, a number of our players felt frustrated for not meeting their targets over the course of the season. My trick with the target system is to ask them to average a 7.50 rating over the course of the season, in matches. Nobody's even come close. I won Manager of the Season, which is always nice. We saw our reputation go up. And we're selling shirts now, too. Clarkson is still the most popular player on the team, though I seriously think he's a little bit overrated. We had some interesting moments to remember, including a 7-0 crushing of Bristol Rovers back in April. This goal by Jamie Rothwell won the most memorable game of the season for us.
Getting onto the front foot with that. Yes!
Meanwhile, this goal by Dempsey Shalito against Nice in an FA Cup match was the goal of the season. Well, it was a good season all in all, and we did have some bad luck too. 5 of our players missed at least 90 days of the season. Wade Bowling was out a whopping 195 days, and then we sold him. That was slightly worse than our injury record last season. And before next season starts, we're going to have a deep cleaning of the squad. It's probably about time we got rid of some of the deadwood. We'll see how all of this goes with next season. I'll try to get that out next week. And until then, I'm going to enjoy our 3rd promotion in a row.